Okay, here we are at the next lab, and in this one there's going to be some reflected cross-site scripting into a certain attribute with angle brackets HTML encoded. So if you remember from 008, this means that if we try to input any HTML bracket or angle brackets here, they will be encoded and they probably won't be able to work. We won't be able to get those to work. So we'll have to figure out what attribute it is, and we'll have to find a way to get some scripting going without using angle brackets. And additionally, it tells us that we need to call the alert function and that the vulnerability is in the search functionality. So let's take a look at that. So first and foremost, let's just try this out and see what happens when we try to input these angle brackets. They told us that it would be encoded, but let's double check. Alright, and now we will view page source to see what's going on. Okay, so right down here, you can see it is reflecting our input right back to us, which in the earlier labs is how we would have gotten this to work, just like that. But as we suspected, this time those angle brackets are being encoded. So the browser knows not to execute these because the web server is telling it that it's something that we put in there and not that the web server put in there. It's untrustworthy input. What's interesting about this, though, is that they said that the vulnerability would be in a certain attribute. And if we look down here, we can actually see that this search box and search form includes our value in it. And I'm thinking we might be able to put a double quote right here at the start of value and sort of close. So start our search term with a double quote to close this. And then we can insert another attribute here after value, right about here. And we might be able to get it to run that way. I'm thinking like an on-click or an on-mouse over might work. Let's give that a shot. Alright, let's see if this works. Not quite. Let's view source again and see what we might have done wrong. I think I put my double quote in the wrong place here. I think it's going to be on mouse over equals quote alert. Let's try that. There we go. That worked. And that should have solved the lab. And it did. Cool. Let's view page source one more time and make sure we understand what we did here. So you can see that when we put our first double quote at the start of our search term, it closed out this other attribute that it was inserting our search term into. Then we were able to write inside of this input tag and give it another attribute, in this case on mouse over, and then tell it that once we did the on mouse over, we can alert. So for this search form, we were able to insert another attribute after what the website expected us to do. So you can see that this was being properly escaped, but there weren't good controls here as well. As a last thing, just to prove a point here, let's try it with one more function. So this time, we're basically doing the same thing, but we're saying instead of on mouse over, we're going to do an on click attribute. And instead of a alert, we're going to do a print. Let's see if that works. And it does, just like that. Awesome. View page source one last time just to make sure, and sure enough, it looks exactly like we want it to. That's all for this one. Join me on the next one, and thanks for watching.